everybody, it is I, the Roguescaper. Very fitting that the Rogue has joined up with the Renegades today. I hope everyone's doing well, and you know, if you've got new Heroscape in hand, I hope you are unboxing that today. Is an official release day for the new Vorid Glidestrikers, which we're painting today, as well as several other units like the Beg Ball, I believe, and Maladrin. We just got a lot of bugs, a lot of forest animals to paint. Today we're going to be diving into the bespoke Glidestrikers. I've already primed these, did a little bit of slap chop, dry brushing on them just to kind of show the details while I'm streaming. And yeah, I guess without further ado, let's kind of dive into this. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And yeah, let's just kind of get right into this today. We got a lot of ground to cover, so you know, four units. So let's try to get as much done today as we can. I don't drop my brush into oblivion first. All right, perfect. So we have these guys here, and they have a bit of army green aesthetic to them, kind of metallic. We're looking for, like, you know, early World War II colors, kind of those army greens, those browns. I'm also just kind of working on the texture and the fur of these little critters. And let's start off. My my paint setup spilled right before I went live, so if you see a bunch of paints all around, that's because sometimes you go live, things just happen right beforehand. We are using some black green from Pro Acryl. If you're following along with Army Painter, an angel green is a very, very close color that you can base with. And we're just getting a very nice dark color starting off for these words. Let me just pull up a reference picture here. Just so I can kind of get an idea of the colors. Okay, well, these guys are going to be really fun to paint. I love messing with cloth texture and fabric. It's a really fun thing to paint. This is our darkest color. We are just gonna, not like too thick, but not worry about it being too thin either. Just kind of make sure we get this good coverage and spread it around. Salim Colate, friend from TOV says here, but lurking for support. I gotta suddenly step away. Oh heck. Oh well. thanks for saying hi regardless. I haven't been live for a bit. I've been a bit busy. Allergies kind of caused me to get a bit drowsy. So I kind of just zonk out for the last couple weeks. But it's good to be back live. Good to hopefully have some good conversations today. And good to be painting. All happy things. Main reason I did a slap chop for these guys is there's just a bunch of little details, and it kind of gives me an idea of where I want to go. Sometimes in a model, if you have too much stuff going on, you know, it's just, you kind of get lost in the midst of it. So this gives me a clear direction, helps me understand kind of the light points as well, and it's also a great method if you're looking to use speed paints. I'm not using that today. That's just a different medium than what I typically use. But speed paints, no shame there as well. They're a great thing to use. I'm actually excited. I saw in the chat that they have the link to the mini paints. I just picked up my set today. I have a lot of paints as is, but I was running low on a couple of colors, and honestly, I just wanted to have Jandor Blue in my collection. More for novelty than anything else. It's kind of cool seeing Army Painter, which paints I use a lot. It's probably my second most used personal paint, besides Pro Acryl, besides having Heroscape names on it. Listen to multiple streams at once, plus editing. You go rogue. You're like that one SpongeBob meme where you're just like, oh, all over the place. I admire the tenacity. color? I think he's. I think this guy is. He's got some green in here too. Couldn't tell if he was bare chested or wearing a suit there. So I think this is the beaver, and then we have. I believe this is the otter, the fox, and there's been a bit of a debate as to what what animal this is. Some people say raccoon, some people say cat, some people say like polecat. It's up to you as the player to decide what kind of animal that one is. Okay, trying to actually focus for half a second here as I'm just talking. Like I said, I've been a bit out of it, so I'm just kind of happy to be here today. Finally been forced to plug in my camera, which is the easiest. Like, if you ever wanted to stop me from doing anything, is to unplug a cord. I was playing a bit of Smash Bros the other day, and my Switch was unplugged, so I just stopped playing. I was like, all right, I guess I'll have to go do my other task I have to do in life. Although sometimes the cord will be unplugged for months, and I'll just stare at it, lacking motivation to get it plugged in. But I am motivated today. I've been dying to get these guys painted. This guy's got a little bit of tight spots here, kind of behind the gun. So you want to make sure you cover that in. We're starting with like the most broad areas first, and then we'll be kind of working on some more of the outermost parts. This is great because there's less chance of going onto this more broader area compared to the other way around when you work with the small details. Okay, and since we are doing squads, we're going to try to just do an assembly line fashion. Pretty much going to work on one main color, one main part, and then kind of cycle through them. This is a great habit to pick through for multiple reasons. One, it'll make your time go by faster, and two, it's makes your paint last longer. Nothing worse than putting a good amount of paint on your palette if you're not using a wet palette, and just having it dry out, and then kind of it's all wasted. So if you can keep your paint moving and apply it to figures in a assembly line, it makes it just a lot better for the process. I don't always do it. Sometimes I like just to focus on one unit and then next day work with the next, but kind of depends on how similar your units are. I think we're in focus here. Yep. I haven't yet had a chance to play with these guys, so I'm looking forward to bringing them on the field. They have a very unique ability. I think some people are dismissive of their powers, but I think as an in-game cleanup unit, these guys are going to see a lot of play. And the important thing is they can outrange the crabs, you know. So when those crabs all show up, you want a range option in your army, lest they overtake you. Trying to decide which one I'm most excited to paint. I think I like the beaver sculpt the best. I think it's just a very fun, dynamic pose. Although this one's probably a runner-up. Another advantage of this when I'm doing this is it allows the paint to fully dry, so you're not overworking it when you want to go back and add your next layers to it. Sometimes on stream when I'm just doing one figure, kind of overwork the model just because I want to keep the flow going, and really sometimes the best thing to do is just wait for it to dry. Just add this nice solid green. We're definitely going to add a bit more different hues to this, but this is just a really great baseline for us to work with. Kind of going to fill in these shadows nicely, and really just kind of it's a fun color to work with. Kind of, I was joking the other day that kind of Master Set AOA had lots of yellows and purples in it. I think we're now entering the era of the green between Halucia and the bugs and the Vorids. We're using a lot more green in the models, at least if you're following the pre-paints scheme. And I'm okay with that. Green is one of my favorite colors to work with. So it's been fun diving into these little guys. And I think they all have pretty much a green undersuit beneath there. We'll see if I like that. If not, I'll maybe make it a brown or something. These guys are all a balancing act of balancing different shades of browns and greens so that they don't blend together. Because you kind of want that brown in the fur just to be more noticeable than the browns on the pants and the belts and stuff like that. Gun area is going to be a bit hard, but if we're patient, we should be able to pick it out. I think they have green pants as well, I just realized. So let's just give them all green jumpsuits, which seems appropriate. Kind of just mapping these guys out. And now we're just going to go through and fill in the pants and do one more layer on the body. A bit more of a solid coverage, and fill in any spots we may have missed in the first pass. I like having a bit of a white undertow to it just because it's a really great way to check that your paints are thin enough. If they're too thick, you wouldn't be able to see any of that white show through in that first layer, and it gives you a little bit of heads up to readjust. I do like this guy though, because he's got that robotic arm. I think last time I was on stream, I was painting Harrigan, the little squirrel guy. He was really fun to paint, but I had to almost break out my magnifying glass just to find all the small little details built into the model. In there. For some reason this guy isn't wearing pants. It's it goes by Disney character rules. I don't think I did this guy at all yet. I just realized I missed him. That's the one danger of doing it assembly line fashion, at least for me, is that I have a tendency to forget things. So always always double check where you're going. Yeah, these guys are actually kind of, well, Renegade was really able to release these pretty early, so I had some some painting tutorials I have lined up for them, but then the release date kind of, people started getting them in hand before I had a chance to kind of get them all compiled together. So now I'm playing catch up again. But I think everyone else is happy to get their stuff early. I mean, there are worse stuff out there than, you know, an early unboxing day. I think out of the new units, the bugs are so far my favorites to play with. I think I like their powers the best. I think honestly the Vorids are pretty fun to paint. I might like painting them a bit more, just because the bugs do have a bit of more angles and a bit more focus is required of me to paint them. But you get that divide between aesthetics and playstyle. But both and all really fun. Every person has their own own thing they're drawn to. In my normal life, I do pest control, so I'm always partial to bugs. And I don't have these guys on a handle just because I'm working them through, but if you're kind of working on them on a more individual basis, definitely like a painting handle or just something with sticky tack is a great way to get these hard to reach angles. Yes, this is black primer tails with a white dry brush. It's a method commonly called slap chop. I'm not doing true slap chop with this today. We're doing layering up, but notice that when I keep my paints thin, like this, you can see a bit of this white showing through, which really helps show you where highlights are, and just gives you a better understanding of the details on the model, if you choose to layer over it. And if you're using like speed paints or contrast paints with this, it works really well. It's you can get a well-looking army done quite fast. As for my paint, I can just give everyone a quick glimpse of what I'm doing with this. So notice this is my palette here. I'm working on some other projects, so it's not new and clean, but I'm just taking my brush and a little bit of water in my brush and pulling it out so it has a bit of that spring back, so that it just adequately is thin, but it has good coverage, which is the best way. Once you kind of get thinning your paints down, it's a great way to just improve your painting quality and preserve all these awesome details. Let's get some fur on these guys painted. I'm going to be all over the place, not going to be doing anything too linear today, just trying to catch some fun tips on these guys, I think. Alright, so let's work on... So they all have different tones and different hues about them. So I am going to add some Giant Brown as just this base layer for this fox, kind of working from like a reddish brown all the way to an orangish brown all the way to a bright orange. See, I put this on there. It doesn't look too thin, which means I'm applying it a bit too thick. So I am just spreading this paint around. so a bit of that white shows through. Definitely look up a picture of animals when you paint this, I'd recommend, because like you think, oh yeah, I know how a foxtail works, but then you kind of once you get to painting, you know, especially if the designations aren't there, you may be like, oh wait, where's that black ring at? Where's the white part start? It's always great to have a reference photo in hand. It really can improve painting stuff like this. It's based off real life, like animals and such. I'll be working on this guy a bit. My hand is starting to get hurt. My hand started to get hurt from my country accent came out there from these guys. There we go. This will save your wrist after, you know, when I'm painting for 4 or 5 hours in a day. You know, being as sore as little, being as sore as little is the goal. And I chose this brown because I imagine I'm going to go more with a standard kind of brown for the belt buckles and all that stuff. And don't really want the browns to kind of blend together. And right now I'm just kind of outlining where things are. I'm just kind of piecing it together in my mind, seeing where I want fur to be and where I want it to be, like cloth or glove or leather or something like that. Something like this, you want to go around and make sure you get all the curves. And also that I stay in focus. I was drifting, I caught myself. Definitely get under them all right here. And I'm just bumping up the brightness real fast here. Looked a little shadowy to me in the preview. There we go. It's a bit brighter for y'all. I wonder if any of the chat has started painting these guys yet, or if you have been waiting to unbox these. I haven't seen too many Glidestriker paint jobs show up, so I'm definitely waiting for those to start popping up. I love when the community makes their own custom variants on them. They really, I have a couple of my own. My next plan is to paint Halucia as the Lorax. This is on my my to-do list because he speaks for the trees. Just getting on top of his head here. You could leave it like at this color if you just wanted to do a simple base layer. I wanted a bit more bright orange, as I just want to really kind of make this thing pop against the screen. I think this guy will have the best contrast. That orange and green will be really fun to bring out. Okay. One more pass here. You notice I try to avoid the goggles and little doodads on his face. If you get some paint on there, you can always paint back over the color you need. See, right under here, we got a little tricky spot. I want to definitely angle it upside down and fill that in as best as possible. Now, I always tell people try to get those spots, but if you aren't able to do it, or if you risk, messing up your other paint jobs, don't worry about it. Odds are, that's why I like to prime in black. As it fills in the shadows if you miss that spot. Do I have a least favorite color to highlight? I love painting with flashy neon colors, but highlighting them is overwhelming. Let's see, favorite color to highlight is probably greens as well as reds. Greens and reds are really fun to work with. Nice solid colors, and there's some fun formulas out there. I've been toying with highlighting using fluorescence and some other really bright contrast paints to really make them pop lately. Because I like to paint in more of a darker palette, and with just some few subtle brights. I'm kind of like in a crossroad between like total grim dark and that, and more kind of forget the style, but neon and fluorescence. So I like the colors to tell a story, but definitely greens and reds. Probably reds a little bit more than greens, because you can really do some fun stuff with red quite easily. Green is a little bit tougher just because you have to kind of know which direction green you're going. More blue green or yellow green. All right, let's get right underneath here as well. For Cornelius, I went through and repainted his cape and some parts of him, just to kind of keep him consistent with some of my other other paints I've done. And I did a really fun time highlighting his red cloak, and the Hellforge I painted green, like a rusty green, and gave it some like bright green highlights. And I'm really happy with how that one came out too. Let's see here. So we kind of got this space done. We're going to let that dry a bit. Now let's see. What are we going to do for this guy here? Do we want to do more of a black? What color is he? No, he's more of a brown. All right, so we're going to get another Fanatic paint. Brigadine brown, nice dark, kind of standard brown. Nothing too flashy about it. Just put it down. and just apply it to the fur. This method is less instantly satisfying. You know, you want to get a model done, but then it is more satisfying in the long run because you gotta get all the models done at once. Nothing worse than having like 3/4 of the squad finished up. So let's get a bit closer. Nope, that's out of focus. Okay. Saving up for a new lens and allow me to get even closer, but for now, this is pretty good. I've done a lot of setups. Still figuring the ideal way to tell the story and paint comfortably at the same time. But each one I feel like I learned something new. These guys are going to be really fun to highlight. A lot of really strong focal points we can really work on bringing to life here. Eyes, glasses. And that's the beauty about painting. You could spend as little or as long on each model as you want. I typically spend a little bit less time on squads and more time on individual heroes. Just so I feel like heroes deserve a bit more applause and attention. But these guys do have the advantage of being unique squads, so I only have to paint one of them. I'm really happy for the new squads that are being released. They have really, I think, elegant in terms of just aesthetics, really elegant designs, but pretty simple, so you can kind of pile through a lot more of them faster. We're just starting with this dark brown here, just kind of as our base. Kind of like blocking in the colors and then kind of seeing how they all look, and then kind of building my highlights once I have kind of an idea of what the base colors look like. And that's why I'm not doing like any of the straps just with that. I don't want the straps to get muddied with the rest of the model. So I'm kind of like, what kind of brown looks best on our otter friend here? I usually get a couple of these models if I can, and then the first one's usually just to practice, and the second one I have a more of a clear understanding for when I tell people how to do it. Or figuring this out together, and I'm honestly happy with how these guys are coming out so far. Nice dark earthy tones befitting woodland creatures. Really excited. I'm going to Escape Con this year and Gen Con, 2 big cons for Heroscape. I meant to say Gen Con first. And yeah, so I'll be doing the tournaments and hopefully meeting some of the awesome Renegade crew, and definitely picking up a few more models of my own in the meantime. Putting the Scaper in Roguescaper, I think. So it's kind of just the scheduling kind of worked out this year. It's gonna be a fun time. If you are going to either of those events, definitely say hi to me. Love to chat about Escape and all this kind of stuff. I've never been to Gen Con before, so it's always been on my like kind of my bucket list, I guess, or my to-do list. And so I'm excited to be going. We're doing pretty good here. Okay, let's go with like a black brown here if I have one in hand. If not, I can mix it. Yeah, so we're just going to take this Brigadine Brown and just mix a bit of black. I'm using coal black from Pro Krill just to darken it a bit, make it a different hue. So, let me show you all. Just kind of use a brush and mix it together. It's the way I want it. There we go. Definitely recommend using a one of your junky brushes, not one of your nicer brushes like I did in that instance, but you know, we all have things to learn. As Heroscape, are you excited for anything specific at Gen Con? I'm looking to. I've never been, so I don't really know what to be excited about. Honestly, I'm hoping to maybe grab some other games or just talk to some other. It's mainly here. I think Heroscape is the top thing. Also, just the experience of I love board games and tabletop games, but I'm not as actively involved in any of those other communities. But I think just the thrill of it all. It's hard. It's honestly hard for me to know what even to expect. So I to be determined. I think once I know more what's going on. Tales versus Rogue Part 2. Oh yeah, definitely gotta redeem myself versus Tales. We'll be seeing each other there and you know, winning this time. Always remember, it's not how you play the game; it's how you win the game. I think no, no. Tales put a pretty good game with me last time we played. But yeah, see anything else I'm excited about? Yeah, I will. I don't have the full layout yet. I'm trying to kind of go in blind a little bit, but maybe that's not a good idea. So this kind of this nice dark black brown we're using. I really like this color actually we mixed up. And just kind of thinly applying this to our furry friend here. Always recommend again getting the yearly Gen Con food special. Normally there's custom pizza and unnamed beverages for the over 21 and other good stuff. Foodie traveler. Ooh, yeah. I'm a I'm a foodie in the sense that I'll eat anything. But I'm not too particular about it. But no, yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, I'm hoping to pick up some miniatures and for some other games and some paints if I can get them. But main goal is to get those those prizes at Gen Con for Heroscape. That's goal number 1. Okay, let's see here. What color do I want to paint these wings? I think they're like kind of a dark grayish, it appears. Craig Vaness is there. Do you want to meet him? Of course. I think that would be pretty cool. I've never met anyone even remotely famous before, so I'll have to say I think you're really cool. I played the game you made a lot, and then run away. I think. All right, and we're using just nearest gray hand, Basalt Gray from Vallejo. And we're just going to add this to the wings. I might mix a bit of black into it just to kind of darken it down. It seems just a bit bright. You, of course, can just mix white and black together to get the shade you want. But that's all preference. Grays are the easiest colors to mix. I think people just kind of understand how that works. You put more black, it gets darker, more white, it gets lighter. But for consistency, it's really great to have pre-mixed colors. Yeah, I'm still figuring out these wings in my head. The best way to get them done, because I want to do a little bit metallic outline on this, but I'll work it out live. People always assume I have a plan, and usually I'm kind of just start painting a model, kind of let the colors speak to me, and then just kind of adjust accordingly. That's the beauty of painting, I think, is the imperfections, and the process is just as fun as the final result. Pretty thin on this. I want to just see how I like this with the use some Vallejo gunmetal, which is a really great color. If you're using that line, I believe that would be gunmetal as well. Gunmetal is a pretty universal term for dark metal. Every paint line has their own. And we're just going to use the edge of a brush. And do I like this? I think once we get a wash in this and separate these colors, I think it'll turn out okay. Or do I want to go more of a black on this here? No, I think they're dark metal in the picture, so we'll keep it as accurate as possible. And we're going to add some highlights to really, I think, buff it up a bit. Make our music died. There we go. Back to the beginning. Gotta go. Talk to you later. Okay, I finally figured out what TTYL stands for. That's talk to you later, Tails. Thanks for swinging by. I was like, TTYL, what does that mean? I am ashamed to say I had to Google that. People just made acronyms and expected me to keep up. So right now we're just kind of outlining these wings. So I wish I went a little bit darker on this metal here, just to make it pop out a bit more. Takes too long to type out the whole word. I agree. Oh, there's no shame there. I just that was one I never figured out. Just most I know. Gotta have my coffee. That keeps me going. I'm more coffee than man at this point, but took me forever to learn what TLDR was. I was like, Tlurder? What does Tlurder mean? I'm not even that old. I'm just old-minded, I think. We're just filling in these metallic bits here. I think the wings, we might need a different tone for the flappy parts. I'm thinking maybe a little bit of brown with this gray might just offset it just a bit to make it catch the eye a bit more. I'm going to think about this while I work on the next one. I think I need to go dark gray or dark gray or dark metal for one of them, because the colors aren't too far apart from each other. All right, let's see here. Let's just do our burgundy brown for this guy. Our beaver tails, they're black, I believe, right? Yeah, beaver tails are black. Okay. And we're just filling him all around. Definitely want to get those hard to reach areas like that. Establishing a base layer does take a bit longer, but definitely makes the rest of the process a whole lot easier once you kind of just get it all settled in. It makes it a lot easier to kind of work up. But every painter likes to do their own thing. Some likes to just finish completely a certain color. Like some people like to paint the whole the grays in, the greens separately and highlight them. But I like to kind of know where I'm going. All right, we're gonna use a dark silver, I think, for this one. Test it out, see if it's worth. It's a couple shades darker than gunmetal. Again, you can mix a bit of black in with your gunmetal to get that look. And also, since we have a bit of a white undercoat on this, make it just appear a bit brighter when we apply it. So we got to keep that in mind too. I love this guy's robotic arm. Okay, now we're trying these veins with a bit of the dark silver here. See if it, we like the look of that a bit better. What time are we at here? Start at 6. We'll try to get focus maybe on one model for a little bit more, just to kind of get some more steps in. This part you just want to be patient. You just use long flowing strokes. And paint that flows pretty well off the brush, but not too watery as to get everywhere. A happy balance. And this time around, I'm trying just to do this part first, so I don't have to be as precise with it. Now I can just cover it up when I do the internal parts of the gliders. Mix a bit of black into this gray. Let's start a bit darker because I think I started too light last time. Get a bit more of a dark gray, just to kind of see. Yeah, so I think if we do this and add some bright silver highlights, I think it'll pop a bit better. If you notice, these things have little divots and little, battle damage on them when you paint it. Those are great things to go through and add some texture and highlights to. If you really want them to pop, kind of focus on the bottom of part of the circle compared to more the top, and it will appear a bit more natural, like the light's coming onto it. And that's why you don't have your paint palette nearby. Nothing worse than painting like a white frost claw and having that fall into blue, which has never happened to me before, for sure. Filling these in, taking our time with each little slat. Honestly, if you wanted to save a lot of time on this, these things are good candidates for speed paints. Just put like a gray inside of it, and then pick out the raised middle parts of it. These guys are all like if the Falcon from Marvel was a furry woodland creature. And you want to bring your brush right up to the edge of these veins for the best coverage possible. Okay, and we'll let this guy sit for a bit. I'm gonna get to his tail in a little bit. Let's add just some highlights, some additional layers to this fox, just to make him pop before we sign off tonight. Okay, so we got the tone established. Now we're gonna take that dry brown we used, and we are going to mix it with our orange, make like a burnt colored orange as our next layer. And we are going to start just focusing on where the light would go. So the light's coming down here. Kind of sketching out which areas we want to pinpoint. And since I put this paint on, I'm kind of moving it around to have it go into the color below. Almost like a dry brush, but not fully, since the paint's wet and a little active. And we're going to focus on the snout and here. and I'm not being too careful with them. I'm just kind of sketching this out in my brain where I want these colors to go. And take that brown we used, just kind of blend it in. Moving my brush side to side, a technique called feathering, just to kind of blend these colors together. And some depth of the shadows I kind of did. Too much of. Let's get some of this orange. We're using clear orange from Vallejo, but really any orange will work just as good. And keep it pretty thin like that. I'm going to start picking out some of these details. Kind of the same process as last time, except this time we are just focusing on less of an area, and our paint's a bit thinner and thinner. Okay. I'll let this dry for a bit. And we try to keep these streams about an hour long, so I might have to wrap up here. But we're pretty much on our way to getting these figures painted. Let's see if I can get just a bit of a wash on this before we head out. But I kind of want to get everything blocked in real fast here. Alright, real fast, I'm going to get some leather brown from Army Painter and start filling in some of these knee pads and leather patches and stuff. Actually, I chose to go more of a brigandine brown just because there is leather brown's a little bit orangish in nature, and you don't want to have those blend together. And we're just trying to get this stuff done somewhat fast here so you can at least have a somewhat completed looking model. Alright, and we're going to get brown wash, or strong tone actually. Let's use strong tone from Army Painter. Like so. And shake it up real good, and we're going to thinly apply this to the model to let these little cracks and details kind of settle in. And add a nice earthy tone that we're going to build up for the fox. And we're just putting it on and spinning around. And notice how it just kind of settles in these recesses here. Models like this wash is a great add. And we'll have to let this sit and dry for a bit. But I think this gave us a good understanding of at least the base part. Maybe I'll finish these up on my own channel, or we'll do another stream about this. We'll see how the scheduling works out, but definitely enjoyed painting with you all tonight. And talking scape and paints. Okay, so there we go. We have a lot more work to do, but this is I mean, barring the wings, which we did on another model. Still needs a bit of work on my part to figure out a good formula for those. Trying to find the right shade of gray. I think I'm going to go probably gargoyle gray from Army Painter and work around that. But this is, I mean, pretty good, close to the pre-paints. We'll have to go through, add some highlights, add some additional details to the tail and the face and the rest of the model, but all a process. You of course can get these figures for yourself. They officially released today from Renegade, amongst other expansions of Wave 3, the second part, or Arc 3. I'm gonna get that nomenclature right. Regardless, they're really awesome figures, really fun to play with, unique move sets. If you're looking to start painting, definitely try to pick up a Army Painter set that Renegade has released, as they have a lot of fun colors, many of which I use today. Painting these guys are very similar colors to get you kind of started on your painting journey. Those paints are really great, have great coverage, and a good price point for what they do. And other than that, I think we'll call it for today. Keep scaping on. Thanks all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, all. Bye.